Yo, what's good YouTube? Zam Crow here, aka Scoop, back with the International Draft Masters Season 3, week number 3, and we're taking on Nova Hawk, coach of the New Orleans Saints, and he's a pretty solid battler, so it's good. It should be a good one. He's also got a pretty scary squad. He's got, as you can see on screen, Mega Scizor, Tangrowth, Heatran, Toxapex, Zygarde 50%, Clefable, Hippowdon, Excadrill, Alolan Persian, and Alolan Ninetales, where his Z-move users are Zygarde 50% and Alolan Persian. So, yeah, he doesn't bring Veil, he doesn't bring Sand or Excadrill, no Alolan Persian, so I don't have to watch out for the parting shot, although we obviously did have to account for that in prep, along with, Aurora Veil and a Sand Rush, and so on and so forth. Zygarde 50% is a huge threat with Dragon Dance and Coil, or just a choice band variant. Also, Clefable is one of the most annoying Pokemon in the franchise when it comes to competitive play, so it could be a huge threat as well. Heatran, Mega Scizor, Toxapex, really annoying to try to break through, especially with Tangrowth and Toxapex having a Regenerator, Hippowdon and Mega Scizor having reliable recovery, Heatran not really having reliable recovery, but it does have the option to have Wishes passed from Clefable. It has, other options like Lead Seed Tangrowth to bring back HP, or maybe like, I'm not sure it works like that, so I won't even talk about that. Anyways, yeah, this is week 3. We're both coming into the battle 1-1, and that's his squad. So we'll talk about my squad for a second. We have Landorus, Therian, Zeraora, Como-O, Necrozma, Scizor, Primarina, and Incineroar, which is a potential Z-move user, Decidueye, and Glaceon. Glaceon also being a Z-move user, potentially. Megadine, Tauros, and Garbodor is our total 12 Pokemon on our squad. Like I mentioned, Landorus, Therian, Incineroar, and Glaceon are my Z-move users. And then we've actually decided not to bring Zeraora this week. A little bit unfortunate because it kind of had a decent matchup in this particular matchup. In terms of, like, had I brought a four attacks Life Orb set, it would have been really nice. Like Plasma Fist, Fire Punch, Close Combat, and Hidden Power Ice or something of the sort. Would be like really nice because Plasma Fist hits things pretty hard. Toxapex, Clefable, Scizor, and Heatran even, and then Plasma Fist into Close Combat knocks out Heatran. Plasma Fist into Fire Punch knocks out the Scizor. So yeah, that would have been really nice. Also, Plasma Fist into Plasma Fist, probably knocking out Clefable unless it's max defense, and definitely will knock out the Toxapex. And then Fire Punch does a decent amount to Tangrowth unless it's fully Fizz Def. But yeah, so the idea behind our team that we've brought, we've got Landorus Therian here with Stealth Rock. Okay, I don't have, as you see, I don't have a team builder. It's because I don't have this squad. I actually built this team at a woman's house, played at her house on her laptop, and then that was that. I didn't save this team on any of my social media or in my notes or anything like that. So yeah, I have to rock off the top of the head here. We've got Stealth Rock, Swords Dance, U-Turn, Earthquake, Landorus. I could have potentially brought Flying EMZ, but I felt like I wanted to bring maybe a Z-move on a different Pokemon in this matchup. So Swords Dance into U-Turn on Tangrowth is pretty nice, and he doesn't have a ground resist, so outside of Tangrowth. So Swords Dance into Earthquake is really, really nice, especially if I can get my Stealth Rocks up without, actually taking damage, like maybe forcing a Heatran switch or something of the sort. So next up we've got Scizor, which is a 2 attacks Roost Defog set with U-Turn and Bullet Punch. And this thing is basically just there to keep Toxic Spikes off the field and make sure that the rest of my team doesn't have to worry about that. I've got reliable recovery. I can U-Turn out on Tangrowth. I can pivot in on Scizor. Force a Heatran in, maybe get a U-Turn out into Landorus or something, assuming it's not a Choice Scarf Heatran, and then yeah, go on from there. Next up we've got, it also helps versus Clefable, like 2 Bullet Punches unless he's max defense. You should be able to knock him out with my attack investment. I do have a little bit of attack investment so that I can ensure a 2-hit KO on a non-maxed. If he's max HP, I should be able to 2-hit KO him with Bullet Punch. And next up we've got Decidueye, which is a sub baton pass roost sword dance set. The idea is to baton pass a sub and a sword dance, or one of the other, into something like Landorus. Actually, any of my 5 Pokemon on the team, Landorus, Scizor, Glaceon, Mega Diancie, and Tauros, all appreciate a sub being passed into them, obviously. And then 4 of the 5, excluding Mega Diancie, appreciate a sword dance being baton passed into them. I'm not actually I'm rocking a mono special attack Mega Diancie this week. We'll talk about that when we get there, though. And next up is Glaceon, which is a Frost Breath set, which is a 100% critical hit ratio move. If you don't know, it's like 60 base power, though. But I've also got the Ice Shard, Hidden Power Fire, and Dig with the Groundium Z. So I've got the Tectonic Rage there to bop the Heat Rain on the switch in potentially if he fears my Ice type moves. And then I'm very bulky, so I can take at least up to a +2 extreme speed from Zygarde after Stealth Rocks and bop him with the Ice Shard. So he's kind of forced to, go for 1,000 arrows or something like that. Or, he can get chip damage off with extreme speed and be picked off with the Ice Shard. Or switch out, one of the other. So Mega Diancie is a substitute Moonblast, Hidden Power Fire, and Earth Power set. So we're rocking substitute so that we can't be easily revenged by Scizor's Bullet Punch. It has to, come in, Bullet Punch twice, and maybe be knocked out depending on its investment by Hidden Power Fire as he breaks my sub. And then there's the mind games. Are you going to roost as I'm forced to switch out? Are you going to BP, expecting me to Hidden Power Fire again, etc., etc. And then Earth Power is there for the Heat Rain, and the Toxapex and Moonblast literally hits everything else. So it should be in a pretty solid position with Mega Diancie if we can play it right. And last but not least, we have a Sheer Force Life Orb Tauros with 4 attacks, including Rock Climb, Earthquake, Flamethrower, and Ice Beam. Rock Climb hitting everything outside of, I think, the Scizor, Mega Scizor, Heat Rain, and Excadrill, all of which are hit by Earthquake and Flamethrower for the Mega Scizor, so that's really nice. And then Ice Beam's there for the Zygarde 50%. 100% always a 2-hit KO unless he's like max HP, max def. Same for Scizor. Flamethrower should be a 100% 2-hit KO unless he is max HP, max def, and even then I believe it's like a roll highly in my favor or something like that. I'll have to recalc that to make sure though. But yeah, that's the idea of the team. And he's brought Mega Scizor, Tank Growth, Heat Rain, Toxapex, Zygarde 50%, and Clefable, as you can see on screen. So he's got his regen core, no Sand, no Aurora Veil, no Parting Shot, which is really nice. But still, he's got a scary Fairy Dragon Steel core, as well as an annoying Regenerator core. That's going to be problematic. Anyways, he also has 3 Pokemon with a 4 times weakness. which makes 4 times weaknesses not that exploitable, because I can't run Hidden Power Fire, Hidden Power Ice, and Hidden Power Ground, on the same Pokemon or anything like that. Anyways, let's hop into the battle. We're going to lead off with Tauros. I feel like it is our best lead. We can click Earthquake versus Heat Rain, as he does lead with it. We can click Flamethrower versus Mega Scizor if he wants to just lead with it, see what I lead with, and U-turn out, predicting maybe my Mega Diancie to set up Stealth Rocks or something. Or if he leads with the Toxapex, I can also click Earthquake into Rock Climb, Ice Beam on the Zygarde 50%, and if Clefable is his Stealth Rocker, then I can go for the 2-hit KO with the Sheer Force boosted, Life Orb boosted Rock Climb. But he reveals to be Choice Scarf Heat Rain here, and does 96% with Magma Storm. So had he been Lava Plume or Flamethrower or something like that, he would have knocked me out and caught me big time off guard. But we're able to get off the Earthquake, but our Life Orb knocks us out, so it's a double down on turn 1. And we're going to go into our Landers here. It is our Stealth Rocker, but he goes into Clefable, and I don't want to take an Ice Beam immediately, especially just to set up my Stealth Rocker. So I'm just going to U-turn out into Decidueye, scout for the Flamethrower before going immediately into my Scizor off the U-turn there. And now I have to BP here, because if he's a Flamethrower, he will 2-hit KO me, potentially OHKO me, depending on his investment and his item. So yeah, which I don't know if his item was actually revealed. He may have revealed leftovers there. Anyways, I hard switch into my landers as he brings out his Scizor. He goes for a curse, and I immediately Swords Dance up. And now I've got to go for the Earthquake here. At +2 defense and +2 attack here, it kind of equals, cancels each other out. And we actually get a nice play right here as he decides to roost up, or maybe a Swords Dance again on our switch out, but we stayed in. We knocked him out with the Earthquake. He goes into Zygarde 50%, sets up a Dragon Dance immediately, and yeah, we're just going to hard switch out into our Decidueye. He took a little over 60% from the Earthquake there. That's really nice. Nice chip damage there, especially for Glaceon here. Guarantees the Ice Shard knockout even if he is Yachi Berry. But he hard switches into his Clefable, not risking the roll there, knowing the Glaceon is very, very bulky. I hard switch into my Scizor as he goes for another Calm Mind here, and now he can just click Flamethrower if he has it. But he decides to switch out, so I'm assuming he doesn't have it, or he just doesn't want to risk it yet. And yeah, he goes into his Toxic Pex here. I'm going to defog the Stealth Rocks away as he goes for the Toxic Spikes. And this is the reason that I brought Scizor as my defog user, because I can avoid poison from the Toxic Spikes. And I don't take super effective damage from Scald like Landorus does, which also avoids Toxic Spike damage. So eventually, here in a minute, it's actually going to come to a point where it gets really, really stally. When it gets to that point, I'll drop timestamps, and I'll also, when it gets to a secondary point, I will start fast forwarding my moves. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyways, we can just U-turn out here. We can defog. We can roost, predicting, him to attack us once again. But he switches out into Clefable as we defog. We're gonna go for the BP there. He goes into the Toxic Pex. We have plenty of BP, PP, Bullet Punch power points, so we're fine on that. And we're just gonna U-turn out into Glaceon here. He goes for the Toxic Spikes, and we're gonna try to get some big chip damage off here with the Tectonic Rage. And it bounces. It didn't even do half. Toxic Pex is really, really fat. We hard switch into Scizor here, and we're actually going to get burned, which is really, really unfortunate because now U-turn bounces off Tangrowth and BP bounces off of Scizor. And yeah, now Scizor kind of, it's not fodder at this point by no means, because it can take hits from Toxic Pex and Tangrowth all day, and as long as Clefable doesn't set up too much, we can take hits from it all day as well. As long as it doesn't set up and doesn't have Flamethrower, that is. But yeah, he's going to let me get some big Earthquake damage off here. I'm going to predict him to switch out here. I have to play a little bit aggressively since he has Regen Core. And I'm just going to click the Swords Dance and then U-turn out on the Tangrowth, the predicted Tangrowth, as he does bring in the Tangrowth. Clicks Knockoff as I go into the Scizor off of the U-turn. I can just defog the Toxic Spikes away here, prevent Glaceon and Mega Diancie from being poisoned at this point in the game. I am going to go hard into Mega Diancie here, and I take a little over 30% from the Scald pre-Mega, and now I'm going to substitute as he actually goes for the Gunk Shot, which does break my sub. But yeah, here I'm just going to click the Earth Power. Had I clicked Earth Power there, it would have been really nice on the first turn, because I could have, look at Mega Diancie limit on a sliver. I could have clicked Earth Power into Earth Power because I would have survived the Gunk Shot. And I might have got some really nice chip damage off on either Zygarde or Clefable, or maybe even Tangrowth, depending on its set. Anyways, he brings in the Zygarde 50% after Clefable's 2 hit KO'd by Mega Diancie. I know he's going for extreme speed, so I can safely switch into Scizor here. And then, as he Dragon Dances up, I can just U-turn out into Glaceon, force him to extreme speed, or be killed by Ice Shard. So he gets a little bit of chip damage, but he's still knocked out by the Ice Shard. He brings in the Toxic Pex here, and it would have been really nice to not have wasted my Z so early, because it bounced off at 42%. Had I caught him off guard with it later in the match, that would have been really nice. I should have preserved it, and that's something to think about. But here's where it's going to get. I'm going to leave a timestamp up in the top left-hand corner of where to fast forward to bypass all of this Toxic Spike, Roost, Defog, Scald shenanigans. But in the meantime, for the viewers that do continue watching, we are going to fast forward a little bit. Just going to bullet punch up here. It's going to be a lot of bullet punching, a lot of roosting, a lot of defogging, a lot of scalds, a lot of toxic spikes, and a lot of double switches on his end for the regenerator and whatnot between Tangrowth and Toxapex. And yeah, basically the idea is to eventually wear his PP down and maybe do some swap arounds to the point where, you know, he run like, actually, even if he runs out of PP, he can still win by continuously switching around at this point. It would be almost impossible for me to win unless my opponent makes really, really bad mistakes. Goes out into the Tangrowth here, doubles out into the Toxapex. Eventually I'm going to have to defog the rocks away. Hard switch Mega Diancie in here. I make a aggressive play here so that Tangrowth becomes poisoned upon switching. And it actually worked out for me. It was risky, but you know, I already felt like the game was a losing battle, so I felt like making aggressive plays would be okay. And then, yeah, so it's just a lot of this, a whole lot of this, and then like double switching back into my Scizor and stuff like that. Here I do try to get some chip damage off on the Toxapex, leave it in range of Mega Diancie's Earth Power. And I could have clicked Moonblast here for the 2-hit KO, but it was just too risky, and the fact that he could double back and forth and just get his regen back was a little bit too risky. So we're back in the cycle again, and yeah, a whole lot of this going on. Eventually he is going to get a big hit off on my Glaceon. I do believe I do miss the Frost Breath there. It didn't matter, it would have bounced. But yeah, just like I mentioned, a whole lot of this. I scald here. I mean, I dig here. It's a 2-turn move, meaning he has to use 2 PP of any attack. And yeah, that was really nice. And I avoided being knocked out on that hit, so that's really nice too. But yeah, basically all of my moves are bouncing off, and his regenerator is allowing him to stay, you know, way ahead in the game. He did absorb the Toxic Spike with Toxapex, so I mean, it doesn't really matter. And Tangrowth was only poisoned and not badly poisoned, so it's not going to rack up, you know, more and more each turn. But it does help a little bit that he is poisoned. Anyways, a whole lot more of this, just roost, defog, 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 roost, bullet punch, bullet punch. Occasionally U-turning out to preserve PP. But then I'd always hard switch right back into Scizor, roost up, and if there was a way to get rid of this burn, it would be really nice to wear down the Tangrowth. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case here. And my opponent is going to switch out into the Tangrowth as we go for the Frost Breath, predicting that, and it does over half. It is a 100% critical hit ratio, so that's something to note. It was a 2-hit KO there, thanks to always being a crit. But bounces off the Toxapex once again. Going to the Scizor, just roost up here. He just switches out once again. We're getting pretty close to the 100-turn point here, and we're not really getting anywhere in terms of breaking this Tangrowth and Toxapex Regenerator Core. But we can't give up. This is a week 3 league in a very tough league, so we need a win if there's any way that my opponent will make a mistake or anything like that. So we'll patiently wait on that until it can potentially happen. Here, we're going to go into our Mega Diancie, and we're going to predict him to switch out, and we're going to go for the Earth Power, and we get a huge play here, as my opponent is actually kind of forced to switch back out into Tangrowth. My play is obviously to Moonblast, but I've been making the aggressive plays on his obvious plays a lot this match, so I feel like the Moonblast is obvious, and his Toxapex can tank that. So I'm actually going to go for a second Earth Power here, and this is a big play, as we're actually able to catch the Toxapex staying in and knock him out. And now we're easily able to go into our Scizor here and roost up, let the U-turn, the bullet punch. Actually, we can just not have to worry about U-turning out into Mega Diancie and losing differential. We can just roost up, bullet punch, and toxic, and all the damage will gradually build up. He doesn't seem to have synthesis and he doesn't have hidden power fire, so we're in an okay position here. And we were able to bring it back. It looks like, as it looks like Tangrowth will die to the poison on this turn. And after 111 turns, we actually come away with a victory after making a few mistakes in the match. So yeah, not too bad to come away with a 2-0 victory. We move on to 2-1 with a +5 differential, so not too bad at all. And we're going to be able to pick up the victory here. And yeah, actually going to be able to move into week number 4 with a little bit of momentum. But yeah, it wasn't easy. Good game, Nova. Good luck the rest of the season, my dude. And yeah, that's going to be it. So let me know what you think about the prep on and play on both sides of the field. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. All the good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching.